on the road again. The Dolphins go back on the road for just the second time this season, and they'll be heading up north to take on a familiar foe and division rival, New England. Both the Dolphins and Patriots have stumbled to 3 straight losses after opening day victories, and offense has been pretty tough to come by for both sides. The Dolphins rank 26th in total offense, while the Patriots, well, out of 32 teams, they rank 32nd, with just 955 yards of total offense 4 games into this brand new campaign. The Dolphins have the opportunity to compound the Patriots' struggles on the offensive side under new defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver. The Dolphins' third down defense is tops in the entire National Football League, allowing just a 23.8% conversion rate on the money down. The Patriots' offense ranks 24th on their third down opportunities at 32.8%. For Miami, a win heading into the bye week with a litany of potential players coming back from injured reserve or PUP could provide a major boost heading into the next stanza of the 2024 season. So here we go again, Dolphins and Patriots, 2 times a year, first time this year. And for as long as I can remember, Dolphins and Patriots games have taken on the same shape for the most part. But this could flip with so many significant changes on either side, most notably the Bill Belichick era coming to an end in New England and the Dolphins without their star quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa. But in the past, you could count on an absolute rock fight of a game, a contest where the possessions are scarce, the ball control is prioritized, and the scoreboard is not frequently being lit up by either side. The game figures to take similar shape with how these two teams are playing right now, however. The Patriots, despite playing from behind for the majority of their season, rank 11th in rush attempts and 12th in rushing yards, and while they've allowed 100 yards per game on the ground, teams are gaining just 4 yards per attempt when they go that route and run the football. One key to getting the Dolphins' offense going behind quarterback Tyler Huntley is finding their footing in that same place, on the ground game. Miami is 15th in rushing attempts, but 24th in rushing yards. Playing a closer game could prove conducive for a Miami offense that has plenty of firepower in the backfield, but has found itself in less than favorable rundown situations. Miami averages just 3.7 yards per carry this season, but there have been opportunities, particularly on the inside run game. The Patriots are down their star defensive tackle Christian Barmore, and while Miami averages just 2.6 yards per rush when running off tackle, their runs inside, the B-gap to B-gap runs, have produced 4.4 yards per rush attempt. Now, running the football is a jumping off point, but it is still a passing league, especially when you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who have both been slowed down since they both went over the century mark in the opening game against Jacksonville. But the tape does show some opportunities for both players to get more looks. Hill had a few chances at deep balls in the Tennessee game, but was either not targeted or just missed with a throw on a handful of those plays. If the Dolphins can hit one explosive play in the passing game in what figures to be a low-scoring contest, that can obviously change the scoreboard, but it could also change the complexion of the rest of the game if they can make the Patriots respect the deep pass and the deep portion of the field. To accomplish this, the Dolphins will have to block second-year breakout pass rush star Keon White. Through 4 games, White has 4 sacks and 9 quarterback hits. He has been a problem. Perhaps the most encouraging stat of Tyler Huntley's first start for Miami, he got the ball out of his hands in 2.2 seconds on average, a number much closer to the number of normal starter Tua Tagovailoa. Attacking down the field with quick rhythm throwing and connecting has the potential to change the way teams attack this Dolphins offense going forward. So to bring it all back together, I am interested to see how running the football and capitalizing on those one-on-one situations on the outside when they are presented can help this Dolphins team in Week 5. We are joined today by Patriots.com reporter and the host of the Catch-22 podcast at EZ Lazar on Twitter. Evan Lazar, welcome back into the show, my friend. It's good to see you. Another round of Dolphins and Patriots, man. Here we go again.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you, Travis. We see the Combine, press box, and I'm in Miami. Those are the twice a year, so it's 3 times a year. That's nice.
We do have Dolphins and Patriots from Gillette Stadium on Sunday, a 1 o'clock kickoff. Give us a walkthrough of where those cracks on the offensive line are, and if you can, who has been the top receiver that's kind of, I guess, taken the reins on what this current Patriots offense is?
They really have a lot of holes everywhere. It's like a ship with a bunch of different holes that they're trying to plug on the offensive line right now, and it has sunk their passing game for the most part. You can't throw down the field when you have no time, right? That's just common sense. So last one on the receivers, I would say the the guy that really is like their third down and money type of player is actually Hunter Henry at tight end. He's the one that Jacoby Brissett has the most comfortability with and can move the chains a little bit. They are bullish about Jalen Polk, their second round pick out of Washington. He's come on a little bit here in recent weeks. He's moved up the depth chart a little bit more, played his most snaps in a game last week, a lot more first read progression type stuff with him where the quarterback is looking at him initially in the progression. So he's starting to be a little bit more involved. But the thing with Polk is that he's one of those guys that needs to be thrown open a lot of the time. He's not like a pure separator. He's more of like a back shoulder, catching traffic kind of guy. And Brissett is not necessarily one of those types of passers. So it hasn't been a great mix there, but the hope is once Drake May comes back, comes into the games, that he'll, be able to put those balls on Jalen Polk a little bit better.
Usually I ask you the question about how the Patriots plan to attack Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but those guys haven't been as productive since Tua went down. And I'm curious what Evan Lazar's game plan might be, or how you might draw up what it might look like for the Patriots when it comes to defending a quarterback that's so brand new here, that was, a tough showing on Monday night against the Titans. What do you think the Patriots are looking to do against this Dolphins offense with Tyler Huntley at the helm?
I still look at their offense as being explosive and dangerous, and really one of those offenses where they can score from anywhere on the field because of those two receivers. So with that being said, and I just mentioned all the issues that they've had with containing quarterbacks, that's the one thing with Huntley that he does have the capability of doing. Even that quarterback draw that he picked up a first down with on Monday night, like, you can't let him just run around and be an athlete back there. And I would also just mention, as you know, a lot of those in-breaking routes are always where they want to throw off a play action, those glances and the crossers and things like that. So if I'm the Patriots, they had a lot of issues with that last week against San Francisco. Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, big chunk plays off of just post cross, just take the top off the defense and then cross over the middle of the field. So they have to find a way to close that down and take away those in-breaking routes from this Dolphins offense, because I still look at that game on Monday night. I think it was the first play of the game, dagger right to Tyreek,
Yep.
Off play action, glance later in the game to, I believe it was Tyreek again. Like, they still have that capability of doing those types of things with Huntley. So I don't take anything for granted right now with this Patriots team. They're not good enough for me to sit here and say, well, it's a third string quarterback, so they'll be fine. They still have to worry about a lot of things here.
It's just simple. Patriots win if, and then you get to fill in the blank.
I would say the Patriots win if their defense gets back on track this week against a backup quarterback. They've had that in their bag, even in this Belichick mess that was last year or even 2022. For the most part, they've beaten the Tyler Huntleys of the world, or whatever backup quarterback they're facing. So they need to get right on defense. We went into this season thinking, yeah, they'll probably have a little drop off because Belichick's not here on defense, but they still have a ton of talent on that side of the ball. Right now, they're 25th in the league in EPA on defense. That's not what we expected going into the year. We expected them to still be top 15, top half of the league on defense, and they haven't been. So they are going to win on the back of their defense. They're not going to score a lot of points this year. We know that. Even when Drake May gets in there, they're probably still not going to be a great offense. So they have to get right on defense.
It is that time once again to grind the tape here in the Baptist Health Studios, as this week we're taking a look at the Dolphins' pressure packages under new defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver, and it kicks off here with kind of a baseline play on this 3rd and 13 rep against Jacksonville back in week number 1. We're going to focus here pretty much on the Dolphins just bringing these 4 rushers after the quarterback here. 3rd and long provides so many opportunities to get different looks at quarterbacks and provides you with this baseline look that you can kind of evolve off of from here as the game goes along, as we're slowly getting through. You see Jalen Phillips is the first one to bust through on this pass rush rep. And when you have confidence you can get through with 4 guys against a 5-man pass protection, it allows you to do what? Play more coverage on the back end. There's your hook defenders. You're going to get Javon Holland coming down here in the hook as well. The Dolphins' defensive backfield essentially rotates into what becomes a cover 3. And because of all that, the Dolphins need to get home with their 4-man pass rush, and that is exactly what Jalen Phillips does here, winning off the offense's right side and kind of resetting the pocket. And you'll notice he forces Trevor Lawrence off of his spot right here and does create an avenue for Lawrence to scramble out to his right. But here's what I want to show you on this play, is how the Dolphins have multiple ways to get themselves back into rush lanes, like right here with Calais Campbell and Zach Sealer, who run a little bit of a game here to create this outside rush lane right there. See how they cross paths as Campbell sets that pick inside and Sealer loops off the outside? Because of this pocket collapsing here from Phillips, we need somebody else to get out here and fill that lane in case Lawrence, who's plenty capable of this, decides to extend the play and break the pocket. And that's exactly what happens. But when he tries to get free that way, look who's there, but none other than number 92, Zach Sealer, to force that throwaway. So a successful 4-man rush play there to get the Jags off the field. Here we go to week 4 against the Titans, the opening series of the game. And this one's a little bit different. You have a new addition into the box count here with the Dolphins showing 5 players up front. But really, the reality is it's actually just 4 because Jalen Ramsey down here at the bottom of your screen is simply lined up across from Calvin Ridley in a tight split to the formation. But because of that tight split, we can convert him into a blitzer, which is exactly what happened. You see him come after the quarterback, gets a slight chip here from the tight end, but because of the Dolphins' rush package here and pulling Emmanuel Ogbah off the other edge, you get what looks like a 4-man rush from these guys, but it winds up being these 4 players that come, which changes the, I guess, snapshot for the quarterback in terms of what the coverage looks like. And so he's not accounting for 91 here, dropping off into coverage, a player who mostly spends his time rushing the quarterback. So you're going to peel off, you're going to get pressure right here that causes the back to come over and pick up this blitz from Ramsey, who has that run on the quarterback, and the quarterback simply never accounts for Ogbah in the drop. A pretty common concept here in the passing game, flat stick. That's your stick route, that's your flat route, and the quarterback wants to read that out off of this defender and the also inside hook defender. But because Ogbah gets depth and drops right into that zone, Levis never sees him and throws the ball right between the 9 and the 1, and it turns out to be an interception. So you can see how the Dolphins showed a different look up front here with 5 guys, although really, again, Ramsey's not part of the rush package there, but he does end up coming, and that's plenty enough to confuse the Titans offense, and gets a room service interception there for Emmanuel Ogbah. Let's go ahead and go to the next one here, our last play, my favorite one personally, a 3rd down clip against the Titans on Monday Night Football. This is going to be a Jordan Brooks sack, and you're going to have a different look here than what we've seen so far from these Dolphins pressure packages. Right here, kind of hard to parse out if you're going to get man or zone coverage. You do know you have a single high safety, which could be man free. That's a free safety up top with man coverage. It could be a variety of different zone coverages as well. We'll find out after the snap. But what I want you to look at here is the way the Dolphins walk up these rushers. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential rushers to come at the quarterback. What do we actually end up getting here? Well, you are going to get 6 rushers, but it's not going to be who you think it is that winds up coming, because there's the late movement of Javon Holland putting himself into the fit. You get rotation with Ramsey out here. It's all kind of working in unison to basically create conflict for this Titans offensive line, and that is exactly what you get right here. Go ahead and roll the clip. Jordan Brooks comes clean and gets himself a sack on the back end. Let's go ahead and go to the tight copy and take a look at this play from here. So you've got 2 linebackers mugged up in the A gaps. What does that mean, mugged up? Typically, linebackers line up back here, right? Mugged up simply means they walk up into the line of scrimmage and show a potential rush threat in that way. That gives you Zach Sealer's a 4 technique, and I believe that's big Calais Campbell right there. And the other 4 technique with your 2 outside backers in Phillips and Ogbah essentially widens the entire rush plan. You get this offensive line that kind of has to fan out to take care of those wide rushers, and you also create conflict across the interior 3 here with those mugged up linebackers, especially when you factor in Javon Holland on a late delay blitz, which winds up working right behind Jordan Brooks to kind of create conflict in that A gap, which is, of course, the most immediate gap to the quarterback. Actually, it was the B gap there if you kind of roll that back. You see the blitz from Javon Holland gets the attention of this right guard, who winds up kind of squeezing there. But what he doesn't realize is that Jordan Brooks is on a fast track to the quarterback, and this little split flow action doesn't wind up picking up that blitz, and it creates a free run. So you basically, what you've done with this 6-man pressure look and the late delay blitzer and all the other 4-man pressures you created, you create conflict and confusion for the passing scheme, and Mason Rudolph on this play just does not have his protection accounted for, and that gives a free run for Jordan Brooks into that B gap and gets a big 3rd down sack to get the Dolphins defense off the field. So Miami this year has done a great job of really showing different looks, different fronts, different counts, different blitz actions, and it's created the top third down defense in the National Football League 4 weeks in, just 23.8% conversion this year for opposing offenses against this Dolphins defense. We already discussed the Week 5 matchup in New England a little bit, but here is what Miami has coming their way over the next handful of weeks on the calendar as the Week 6 bye is near and will give the Dolphins a chance to regroup, get healthy, and prepare for a long stretch of football after the early bye week, a stretch that begins out in the Midwest in the friendly confines of Lucas Oil Stadium. Anthony Richardson, the Colts quarterback, came out of the University of Florida dripping with upside, and what he lacked in college reps, he makes up for with jaw-dropping highlights and insane athletic ability. I'm intrigued to see how the Dolphins defense attempts to slow him down along with Jonathan Taylor, as both those players can beat you in both the run and passing game. In week number 8, the Dolphins are back at home to host an exciting Cardinals team that features plenty of talent on offense with quarterback Kyler Murray. That game could take the shape of a shootout, however, as their defense ranks 29th in the NFL, allowing 26.5 points per game through the first 4 weeks of the season. Miami makes a familiar trip to the western side of New York in week number 9 to take on the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo suffered their first loss in a blowout fashion, 35-10 to Baltimore on Sunday Night Football in week 4, but they have been firing on all cylinders so far this season. Dolphins have not won a game in Orchard Park since 2016, and they will need to slow down the combination of Josh Allen and James Cook to come away with a signature victory over the Buffalo Bills. Following that roadie to New York, the Dolphins go way back out west for a cross-country date against Los Angeles Rams, the first matchup with the NFC's team from Los Angeles since 2020 when the Dolphins blew out the Rams here at Hard Rock Stadium. It's been an injury-plagued start to the season for the Rams. They've been without 3 stars on the offensive line and star wide receivers Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, which has provided challenges for Matt Stafford and that offense. The player they do have, however, that can change everything is said quarterback Matthew Stafford. His knowledge of NFL defenses, the mastery he has over the Rams offense, and the many arm slots and throwing platforms that he can get to can torch a defense and makes him one of the most dangerous quarterbacks in the entire league. For me, it goes Mahomes, Allen, and then Matthew Stafford in the quarterback pantheon. It's tough to preview a game that features teams that gets reinforcements like both the Rams and Dolphins should get for that game, especially when Miami gets plenty of players hopefully back in time for that game. We wrap up the 5-week look ahead with the home game against the Las Vegas Raiders. The Dolphins beat Las Vegas last year 20-13, and will look to have a similar success in the return trip down here to South Florida. The Raiders will bring former Dolphin Christian Wilkins back to South Florida for his first game against his former team. Getting him blocked will be critical to finding success in that game offensively. On the other side, the Raiders' offense has struggled in the passing game, so the Dolphins' top-ranked passing defense could have some opportunities against a Raiders aerial attack that ranks 17th with a cumulative passer rating of 91.7. That will do it for this edition of Dolphins HQ from the Baptist Health Studios. If you'd like to hear more from me, be sure to check out the Drive Time podcast where I drop 5 new episodes every week in season. HQ will be back on the bye week as we recap the first 5 weeks of the 2024 season. Enjoy a great weekend of football, and we'll see you soon.